All right, so this is Sunday morning, heading back in from being down at the 58 all weekend. Um, this is the final day of the shark tournament. And as you remember, on the way out, there was camp after camp after camp, pretty much, sometimes only a few hundred yards from each other. And then other times, that it'd be a good 5, 10 minutes before you would see another camp or so forth. Well, at this time, the tide had seriously come up, and this is some of what we had to face on the way back in. And yeah, it got pretty crazy sometimes. So always take care when heading down beach. Also remember too that if you are making a drive like this, to ensure that you have enough gas or diesel, something extra because um, you never know how bad the conditions will be to where you will not make it back to a hard pack, back to civilization. Because you got to remember, you are in no man's land pretty much. There is no gas stations on this beach or anywhere. So having a little extra supplies is never a bad thing. Have it and not need it, then need it and not have it. So yeah, it's pretty crazy coming back. And make sure where they say you need 4x4 and you don't have it, don't try your luck because if you aren't with the crew of personnel, you could be on a stranded beach. As one of our other buddies found out a few years ago, he went out there during winter like this and his truck actually broke down or something happened and he had to walk in from like the 50s. And what's crazy is a lot of people didn't believe him until he went back down beach and he showed where his footprints led from like somewhere in the teens all the way up to where his truck was parked. Like you could see his footprint still, and it took him several days to hike out of there. Um, and not one time did a vehicle come up in there. So with these bad weather conditions like this, you got to remember that you may be the only person on that stretch of beach. So it's always a good idea to let some people know, hey, if you're not back off this beach at such and such a date or such and such a time, to at least somebody will be accountable to getting you some help. Because trust me, this can turn very, very bad real quick. On the smallest of things. You never know what could happen. It's better to cover your six than not have a evacuation plan and or somebody to send you some help. Also, one of the main things about doing this recording was we have fished this tournament many a years in the past, and every time we would leave the beach, we'd always see so much debris and trash get left on the beach. Um, and there's a big old Billy Sandifer yearly cleanup that happens out here, but they only can go so far down the beach with the personnel they have, and I mean they've removed tons and tons of trash off these beaches. However, when stuff like this happens, that they hold a tournament and or some kind of big event on that beach, and these guys are out there bringing all the camping gear, and then they choose to leave it, all you're doing is dirtying up one of our, parks. I mean, would you go to your local park there where you live and leave a tent set up or the framework from a canopy that fell apart? That's all stuff that you take, with you to have some comforts while you're out there. doesn't mean that when it breaks down, you leave it out in the park. You gotta pack that stuff up and get it off the beach. Always try to leave the beach with more trash than you brought. And that will kind of ensure that, your kids will be able to enjoy it just as much as you have and, the people before you have. So, you gotta protect it. Everybody's gotta pitch in a little bit to help out. As we stated before on the video, when you're traveling down beach, it's always good to travel with more people than just one vehicle. At the same time, too, having extra supplies, like I said, you never know when they'll come in handy, and looks like they are about to become in handy.
What's up, boss? Yeah, I do.
Is it number 9 on the Tejano Gold?
So this truck came out here and they ran out of gas. What their 4x4 went out, so they were having to power through everything, and that forced them to eat a lot more gas than they normally would have if their 4x4 was able to engage. And right here again, you will see another camp that left their debris there of a canopy and everything else that failed. Here's a prime example of a camp that was there, and now they have left, and they left the remnants of the canopy that was used for the camp. It looks like a busted up cooler, and some other debris that they could have picked up when they packed up camp and taken it with them. Now it's there to rust, and Alright guys, so as you've seen, this is not an easily traveled beach. You know, if you aren't prepared for this kind of abuse to your vehicle and or don't maintain it very well, you can be in a bad situation really quick. As you see, the tides are coming up all the way up to the dunes. There was parts that were completely impassable at times because you got 2 foot of water in there and you had to wait for those waves to recede and or wait for low tide. You know, this is a beach that can be very dangerous at times, but at the same time can be very, very beautiful and a great place for you to take your family and have a nice vacation. Please, like we said, always be aware of your surroundings. Try and do the right thing and pick up your trash so that way it's not left behind like others have done. And we would encourage you to go out and fish, get out of the house. We will be posting more videos. We actually still have the video from when we were actually in camp and the guys that were in the tournament were able to get baits out and so forth. And actually, during one of those, it could have been a very bad situation for the kayaker. An experienced sharker, when getting ready for a kayak trip, you know, they're focused on the job at hand and what needs to be done and ensuring all the parts are coming together, such as the bait and checking clips and so forth. And at times, you know, can get sidetracked. But at the same time that is happening, all the guys that are with him in the camp that are awake and watching what's going on also need to be aware of what is actually being done. You know, ensure that, hey, he doesn't have his strap, or hey, he doesn't have this, or, you know, it's up to everybody in the camp to work as a team and to watch each other's backs, because at the end of the day, those are the only people that are there with you. They're the only ones who are going to know what happened to you if something happens or something goes wrong and you can't speak for yourself. You know, there's been many a times where guys go out and get flipped over in a kayak and they take a hook to, you know, certain parts of their body, and, you know, and they're hooked there. Being way down beach like that, you know, that can be life or death situations, and the least you want to do is proper preparation to ensure that you're prepared for anything that may come your way. And again, like I said, this is a long video, but it goes to show all the craziness of the driving.